Hey Stoic friends, welcome back to my channel. Some people don't live. They just survive in a cage no one can see. A cage built from their own thoughts, their own guilt, their own unspoken shame. They laugh at the right moments. They nod during conversations. They even show up for birthdays. But inside, there's a scream that never stops. A storm they keep silencing with scrolling, sleeping, substances, pretending. They've never fought anyone harder than they've fought themselves, and most of them don't even know they're in a war. They wake up already wounded, eyes still closed, breath still shallow, heart already racing like something's chasing them, and it is their own damn shadow. Every mistake they've buried, every lie they've told themselves, every time they chose comfort over character. And they're drowning before the day even begins. They don't rise, they crawl. And the worst part? They think it's normal. They reach for their phone like it's oxygen. They choke down dopamine like medicine. They scroll through lives that aren't even real. Filtered joy, staged perfection, empty captions. And deep down, they know they're slipping, not from success, from themselves. And yet, they keep going, smiling, waving, pretending they're not rotting inside. Then comes the silence, but not the kind that heals, the kind that haunts. That soul-splitting silence that wraps around you after another breakdown, another argument, another night wasted staring at a screen with tears you can't explain. That silence that doesn't bring peace, only echoes. And in that exact moment, when it feels like the world is cold and the mirror is cruel, that's where it must begin. Not the healing, not the therapy, the fight. Because this is war. Not with the world, not with your past, with your inner coward, with the part of you that hides, that blames, that numbs, that waits for a better time. There is no better time. There is now, and there is never. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He didn't write poetry to be admired. He wrote to survive. He wrote like a man bleeding into paper. He was the emperor of Rome, but the real empire he ruled was himself. Every line he penned was a rebellion, a war cry against lust, ego, fear, and comfort. He didn't beg the universe for peace. He created it, sentence by sentence, scar by scar. You think you've suffered. He watched his friends die, buried his children, and still woke up to rule a kingdom and a mind that both wanted to collapse. And he never bowed. So today, we're not sipping tea with philosophy. We're setting fire to your excuses with 8 blood and bone truths that Marcus carved out through hell, not gentle lessons, weapons. And if you're not ready to bleed a little, leave now. These truths aren't meant to feel good. They're meant to break you, so you can finally rebuild yourself without the lies. If you've had enough of living as a hostage to your emotions, if you're done letting some thoughtless impulse hijack your day, if you're ready to kill the weak voice that keeps whispering, "It's okay to give up," then don't move. You're exactly where you need to be. This is the mirror you've been avoiding, and it's not here to flatter you. It's here to burn the version of you that's been holding you back. Let it hurt. Let it sting. Let the images of everything you did wrong crawl back into your chest. Because if it doesn't wreck you a little, it can't rebuild you at all. This pain is sacred. This storm is the sacred forge. And what comes out of it is unbreakable. So if you're ready to stop running, if you're ready to put your soul in the arena, look it dead in the eyes, and scream louder than every regret you've ever buried, then drop this in the comments. I'm ready to master myself. No half-hearted words, no fake motivation, just raw, primal truth. And if you feel that fire, if your skin's buzzing, if your chest is heavy, if your mind is trembling, don't scroll away. Hit the like button. Say your affirmation. Send this to the one person who needs to hear it but won't admit it. And subscribe. Not to this channel, but to the version of you that's been locked in chains, screaming for resurrection. Because this is it. The beginning of the real war. The war within. And this time, we win. Now let's go. Number 1. Stop negotiating with your weakness. That soft little voice in your head, the one that sounds gentle when it tells you to rest, delay, skip, slow down, that voice is a serial killer. It doesn't hold a knife. It doesn't come with a scream. It shows up in whispers, in silk, smiling while it poisons your momentum. 5 more minutes. You've earned this. Start tomorrow. No thunder, just decay. It doesn't steal your life in one go. It eats you one lazy breath at a time. And the worst part? You know it's lying. You know it's feeding your own destruction. But you still sit there. You still consider it. You still let it plant doubt in your spine, knowing damn well that this exact moment is the doorway between your future self and your funeral. You were born for war, not to be coddled by weakness wrapped in sweet words. But you keep signing peace treaties with the part of you that wants to rot. You sit at the table with your own sabotage, shake hands with your demons, then wonder why you feel so hollow when the day ends. You wonder why your reflection feels like a stranger. Marcus Aurelius didn't need fireworks or motivational speeches. He looked life in the eye and said, "Do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. No fluff, no emotional support, no maybe later, just brutal clarity." And that's what you need. Because every time you hesitate, every time you debate doing what you know you must, you shrink. Your edge dulls, your fire flickers, and your crown falls. You don't need more time. You need to become more terrifying to your own excuses. You need to walk like your soul is on fire, and your weakness owes you blood. This isn't about hype. This is about dragging your inner coward into the light and watching it melt when you don't blink. You don't reason with that part. You destroy it. You think Roman soldiers waited for a good day to bleed? You think they asked for better weather before war? No, they stormed through storms. They charged with mud in their eyes and arrows overhead. And that's exactly how you must face your life. Unapologetic, cracked knuckles, blistered hands, and a heart that doesn't flinch. Stop explaining your laziness to yourself. Stop massaging failure with pretty words. Rip the comfort from your bones. When that voice creeps up next time, begging you to take it easy, don't speak, don't think, don't flinch. Just move like something inside you is trying to break out. Because it is. And if you don't set it free, you'll die buried under the weight of your own hesitation. No more bargains. No more mercy. From this moment on, you don't negotiate with weakness, you slaughter it. Number 2. Master your reactions before they master you. You ever feel it crawl up your spine, the heat, the pulse, the explosion, before you even know what hit you? One word, one stare, one moment that pokes your pride like a dagger in the ribs, and suddenly it's not you standing there. It's something else. Something snarling. Your face, your voice, but twisted, hijacked, weaponized. You watch yourself from the inside as you tear down the room like a wrecking ball with no brakes. And right as it ends, you already know you lost. Not the argument, yourself. You didn't react. You detonated. And the fallout doesn't wait. It rains down immediately. Silence, shame, People looking at you like you just ripped your own soul out and handed it to a stranger. You try to breathe, but the damage is done. And the worst part, the thing that triggered you, it was never worth it. Never big enough. Never strong enough. But you let it own you. You gave it the keys to your peace and told it to drive you into the wall. That's not control. That's not fire. That's a leash. And guess who's holding it? Every fool who knows which button to push. Every low-energy parasite who lives off chaos. Every random face that gets under your skin. They don't have to fight you. They just have to touch a nerve and you do the rest. Like a machine that short-circuits at the first sign of disrespect. But you weren't built to be triggered. You were born to terrify triggers. Marcus Aurelius didn't speak in theories. He spoke in storms. He said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" And that truth doesn't age, because the spark is never the issue. It's the wildfire you allow it to become. You think you're defending your pride, but really you're burning down your own kingdom just to prove it exists. What kind of king does that? You don't bottle your emotions. You weaponize your calm. You don't smile through disrespect. You silence it with presence so cold, it freezes the chaos in the room. Because when you can look your rage in the face and not blink, you don't need to shout. Your stillness screams louder. Let them try. Let them mock. Let them test your spirit. Because every time you don't react, you're building something inside. Something they can't shake. Something they can't manipulate. And while they scream, poke, insult, and dance like fools, you become untouchable. You don't flinch. You own the silence. When the fire rises, don't run. Feel it. Hold it. Make it kneel. You don't leave the room to escape the war. You leave because you already won. You didn't let them inside. You didn't give your soul away for a few seconds of emotional release. That's not weakness. That's godlike discipline. Because from now on, you don't serve your emotions. They serve you. No more being the puppet of rage. No more flinching at every spark. You are not a slave. You are the one who decides. You are the one who breathes through chaos with your head high and your heart unshaken. You are the storm, contained in human form. And if they try to pull you back into your old self, don't answer. Don't raise your voice. Don't defend yourself. Just stand still and let your silence shake their bones. You're no longer reacting. You're rewriting the rules. Number 3. Stop worshipping comfort. It's making you weak. Every time you reach for that remote, that extra slice, that extra hour of sleep, you are building an altar to your own destruction. Comfort isn't saving you, it's sedating you. It doesn't feel like poison because it's warm. It doesn't taste like death because it's sweet. But it's carving your backbone out with a velvet knife while you smile and call it self-care. Comfort is the slow death. It's not loud, it's seductive. It's the soft whisper that says, "You've earned it." But what have you earned really? A softer gut? A slower mind? A life wrapped in bubble wrap and buried in regret? You weren't built for softness. You weren't made to decay in silence. And every second you surrender to ease, you are rehearsing how to disappear. You are muting your instinct, dulling your edge, castrating your will. Every time you scroll instead of build, binge instead of sweat, complain instead of conquer, you're feeding a coward inside of you. And that coward is growing teeth. Marcus Aurelius didn't sit around waiting for peace. He created it in chaos, in hardship, in blood. He said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not a quote. It's a fist to the jaw of every excuse you've ever made. He didn't run from the storm. He stared it down until it blinked. But look at you now, flinching at the cold, running from silence, worshipping dopamine like a digital junkie. You're allergic to discipline, offended by effort, trained to confuse discomfort with damage. You want everything fast, easy, painless, and then wonder why your life feels like a padded cell. Comfort doesn't just make you weak, it makes you forget who you are. You lose your hunger, your wildness, your war. You become a spectator in your own life, cheering from the sidelines, while your dreams get buried under blankets and Netflix marathons. And the most violent part, you know it. You feel it every night when your head hits the pillow and your heart whispers, "You ran again." The cure? It's not a morning routine. It's not a planner. It's war, voluntary war. You wake up in pain and move anyway. You choose the stairs. You eat the bland food. You train when your body screams, "Stop." You stare into the cold until your soul remembers how to fight. Because growth only comes to the ones who bleed for it. You won't find yourself in ease. You'll find yourself in resistance, in suffering you chose and survived. You don't need more comfort. You need chaos you can overcome. You need silence loud enough to break you, cold sharp enough to test you, pain honest enough to rebuild you. Burn your altar to comfort, smash it to ash, and in the rubble build a throne made of scars. That's where your crown is. Number 4. People are mirrors. Stop expecting them to fix you. You ever feel the sting of silence louder than a scream? That moment where someone doesn't call, doesn't text, doesn't even blink in your direction, and it feels like your soul got sucker-punched. That's not just heartbreak, that's identity cracking. Because deep down, you weren't just hoping they'd stay, you were hoping they'd save you from yourself. But they didn't, they left. Or worse, they stayed and saw straight through you. And that's when it hits you. You gave them a mirror, hoping they'd reflect love. But instead, they reflected your emptiness. That's the truth nobody says out loud. Most of us are not in love with people. We're in love with the way they temporarily distract us from our own void. You weren't crushed because they left. You were crushed because now you have to face the version of yourself you've been hiding from. Behind their smile, their texts, their arms. You wanted them to fix you, hold you, tell you you're enough. But that was never their job. That was your war. And you tried to outsource it. Marcus Aurelius didn't expect the world to be gentle. He said, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Not because he was bitter, but because he refused to be blindsided. You still flinch every time someone doesn't show up the way you romanticized in your head. Stop that. You keep handing your power to people who don't even know how to hold their own. You keep bleeding on ghosts, writing poetry for people who wouldn't read it, praying for closure from mouths that never deserved your words in the first place. Let it burn. Let their silence become your siren. Let their betrayal become the blade you forge your backbone with. Let the pain slap you awake, not lull you into another dream of what could have been. You do not beg, you do not chase, you do not shrink. They weren't your healer, they were your trigger, and they pulled it so you could finally explode into something real. You're not some broken thing waiting to be loved back together. You are the storm they couldn't stand in. You are the mirror they smashed, because the reflection exposed their own fragility. So stop waiting for them to come back and tell you you're whole. You already are. But only if you stop trying to find yourself in people who lost themselves a long time ago. You want a mirror? Stand still and watch what rises when you finally stop running. Number 5. Control what you feed your mind, or it will starve your soul. Your mind was never meant to be a sewer, yet you let it drink from one every day. Don't lie to yourself. You know it. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, your thumb is already swiping, absorbing pixels laced with poison, endless reels, manufactured bodies, echoes of fake lives screaming louder than your own thoughts. You've turned your temple into a trash can, and then you cry when you feel like garbage. The sadness, the fog, the confusion, it's not random, it's diet, mental diet. And yours, rotting. You feed yourself failure disguised as entertainment. You drink in anxiety like wine and call it keeping up. Gossip, outrage, fear, served on every digital plate, and you eat it all. Seconds, thirds, dessert. You crave what's killing you, and you wonder why your spirit is always starving. Every notification you check is another dagger in the back of your peace. Every mindless scroll is another leash, tying you to mediocrity. You're not distracted, you're drugged, and the dealer is always in your pocket. Marcus Aurelius didn't write for Instagram quotes. He wrote for war, and he told you, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So if your soul feels dirty, jaded, bitter, it's because your thoughts are soaked in filth you let seep in, drip by drip, until you forgot what clean ever felt like. You want peace? Good luck finding it when you're marinating your brain in madness. You want focus? Not when your attention span dies every day from dopamine withdrawals. You want clarity? Then stop feeding the fog. Shut the floodgates. Starve the distractions before they starve you. Throw the algorithm in the fire. Block the noise with iron walls. Protect your headspace like it's the last sacred ground on earth, because it is. You can't become the man you were meant to be if your mind is a landfill for the world's chaos. This world thrives on keeping you mentally obese and spiritually starved. Break the cycle. Fast from the filth. Clean your digital tongue. Silence the circus. And when the noise dies, and the withdrawal hits, and the stillness feels unbearable, don't run. That silence is your rebirth. Fill it with truth, with savage clarity, with ancient texts, real voices, your own breath. Replace reels with pages. Replace endless scrolling with ruthless introspection. Replace comparison with creation. Because what you let in becomes your reality. It becomes your thoughts, your mood, your vision. And if you poison the source, don't be shocked when the whole river turns black. So choose now. Will you be the gatekeeper or the gravekeeper? This isn't about motivation. This is about war, and the battlefield is your mind. Number 6. You are dying. Start living like it. You walk around like you've got a lifetime tucked in your back pocket, like you're some immortal beast who can keep hitting snooze on life forever. But here's the brutal gut punch nobody wants to swallow. Your body is a ticking time bomb. Your soul is bleeding seconds. And every breath you waste, pretending you've got time to spare, is another nail hammered into your coffin. This isn't a slow fade. It's a wildfire burning through the very marrow of your existence. Marcus Aurelius, that raw, ancient savage, screamed through time, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Read it again. Feel it twisting like a knife in your gut. This isn't some fluffy motivational platitude. It's the truth slamming into you like a freight train with no brakes. Death doesn't knock. It doesn't text to warn you. It barges in and demands the final curtain before you're ready. You're not scared of death. You're scared of living, trapped in a loop of meaningless distractions, wasted hours sucked dry by social media sirens, chasing ghosts that never wanted you. How many dreams have you smothered beneath layers of later, tomorrow, next week? How many fires inside you have died because you chose the safety of numbness over the chaos of raw life? Every second you let slip through your fingers is a betrayal, a slow suffocation of your potential, your rage, your fire. You don't have time. You have this explosive, volatile, breathtaking now. The clock is a merciless assassin that won't pause for your pity party. It doesn't give a damn about your excuses or your broken promises to yourself. So, tear off the mask of denial. Stop tiptoeing through life as if you're some immortal god. Take up arms against the zombie plague of comfort and complacency dragging you to death's door. Say the words that scorch your throat. Burn the bridges that chain you. Walk out of the lukewarm sludge of half-living and dive headlong into the raging inferno that's screaming to claim you. Because when your final breath hits the air, when the silence closes in, you don't want to look back and realize you spent your whole life asleep, a ghost haunting your own corpse, too scared to live loud, too weak to fight, too numb to feel. Number 7. Don't argue with fools, win with silence. There's a certain hell in wasting your fire on fools who'll never understand. You shout into a void that's deaf. You wrestle shadows that don't even exist. And every second spent proving your worth to the ignorant is a second stolen from the masterpiece you're meant to build. There is no honor in this battlefield of fools. No medals handed out for arguing with those whose minds are locked tighter than a tomb. No victory in trying to explain yourself to people who've already made up their minds to misunderstand you. They aren't opponents, they are noise, static, a black hole designed to swallow your light. Marcus Aurelius, that immortal titan of cold clarity, said it in a way that shatters illusions. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You want the raw truth? Stop feeding the beast. Stop throwing your pearls before swine. Stop clinging to the illusion that your words can untangle their chains. Critics will come like vultures, circling your wounds. Haters will spit venom, jealous eyes burning with silent rage. Bitter souls will throw shade not because you're flawed, but because you reflect the life they gave up on. You're a mirror they refuse to look into, a mirror they would rather smash than face. The urge to respond, oh, it's a trap so sweet it tastes like fire. The desire to clap back, to rip apart their lies, to make your truth heard. It screams in your veins. But listen closer. Your real strength is not in the roar, but the pause. The silence that cuts sharper than a dagger, the quiet so loud it crushes. Silence is a weapon forged from restraint. It's the language of the gods. When you refuse to feed the fool, you make them drown in their own empty noise, echoing alone in a cavern of their failures. Why spill your energy convincing the blind to see when your vision is meant for warriors who can walk through fire? Your breath is sacred. Your power is precious. You were never put on this world to babysit broken egos or settle petty squabbles. You were made to move mountains, to build empires with your mind and soul. Let them scream in the dirt while you rise in the sky. Your life is the proof, not the noise, not the hollow words. Sometimes the fiercest flex isn't a battle won, it's the quiet strength of growth. The devastating power of walking away while they drown in their bitterness, the unstoppable force of elevation instead of argument. Let the fools waste themselves in their chaos. You, the master, keep working, keep climbing, keep burning brighter than the fire that tried to burn you down. Number 8. You can't heal in chaos. Protect your peace like a warrior. Peace is not some gentle lullaby. It's a raging war, a primal battle fought in the darkest trenches of your mind while the world screams madness around you. It's not about floating softly through life like a fragile ghost. It's about grabbing chaos by the throat and refusing to let it choke your soul. It's blood, fire, and grit, your last stand against a universe hell-bent on shattering you into a million lost pieces. Every no you roar at the noise cuts deeper than any sword. Every door you slam on toxicity isn't just a gesture. It's a declaration of war. Every time you choose solitude over the venomous chaos, silence over screaming crowds, growth over the endless circus of distraction, you don armor soaked in defiance. You become a wild beast howling in the dark, untouchable and terrifying in your resolve. Marcus Aurelius didn't whisper wisdom, he screamed it across centuries. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Your soul isn't a quaint little cabin where peace visits like a polite guest. It's a battlefield under siege, a fortress bombarded every second by the explosive insanity of modern life. Your phone shatters your calm like a grenade tossed into your mind's eye. People demand, rip, claw and tear at your energy with the merciless hunger of starving wolves. Opinions flood your brain like a toxic flood, dragging you under a crushing tide of anxiety, anger, confusion. If you don't build walls thick enough to stop this tidal wave, your peace drowns, your soul breaks, and your fire dies. Your energy is the last ember glowing in a black desert storm. Protect it like a demon, guarding its treasure. Rip out the leeches draining your blood. Poison the snakes trying to slither into your mind. Cut loose the vampires who suck kindness dry until you're empty. You owe no apologies, no reasons, no explanations. Your healing is a war cry. Your space is a fortress. Own it like a goddamn king in exile. Make peace your relentless ritual. Not some weak afterthought, but a savage necessity. Silence is not loneliness. It's the roar of your own power. Stillness is not surrender. It's the blade sharpening in the dark, the volcano gathering fury beneath the earth. Quiet is the furnace where your true voice smashes through the lies and screams louder than any chaos. Mastery starts here, in the burning heart of your fortress mind. You can't sprout wings in a hurricane. You can't rise like a titan in a pit of madness. You cannot become the storm if your soul bleeds surrender. Choose peace like a warrior choosing life on the razor's edge. Fight for it with every scar, every scream, every broken breath. Even if you stand alone, bloodied but unbowed, against the raging fire of the world. Because peace is not given. It's seized with claws. It's carved from the bones of chaos. It's the last war you fight, and the first victory you claim. And when you clutch that peace, raw and untamed, nothing, no storm, no beast, no poison, can ever steal your power. You become the unbreakable wildfire that no darkness can extinguish. Mastering yourself isn't some neat little checklist for perfection. It's a savage war of persistence, a relentless pounding against the walls life throws in your path. Pain, silence, betrayal, distractions. These are the weapons handed to you, not to break you, but to forge you into something unbreakable. Marcus Aurelius didn't write soft words to soothe your ego. He blasted thunder through centuries to remind you, you are a force of nature, a storm waiting to explode, when you decide to live raw, ruthless, and on fire. If this struck deep, shook your core, made your blood boil, or your soul crack open, don't cage that lightning inside. Smash that like button. Shout your truth in the comments. Spread this wildfire by sharing. Subscribe, because this is no quiet journey. It's a roaring revolution. We're not just walking through life. We're carving legends. We're rising from ashes, ripping through limits, becoming the relentless warriors we were born to be. YouTube family, this is only the first strike. The war for your soul has just begun. And damn, the best is yet to come.